We switch gears now to Focus Africa as we turn our attention to Liberia, where the president President Joseph Boakai has announced a significant salary cut in a bid to promote responsible governance and show solidarity with the Liberian people. President Boakai will slash his salary by 40%. Now, this move comes amidst growing public scrutiny over government salaries and the rising cost of living. Here's a bit of, let's give you a backstory to this. So President Joseph has decided to reduce his annual salary from $13,400 to $8,000 US, a 40% cut, hoping to set a precedent for responsible governance and solidarity with the Liberian people. Now, this decision mirrors the action of his predecessor, Gerald, who took a 25% pay cut during his tenure. Now, while some hail the president's decision, others question the true extent of his sacrifice, giving his additional benefits like daily allowances and even medical cover.
And of course, the Liberian Presidential Office budget is nearly $3 million this year. Anderson, the mayorman from the Center of Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, welcomes the move, but emphasizes the need for transparency on how the deductions will be used. Similarly, W. Lawrence, Ulate the second of another transparency campaign group, commends the decision, but urges a review of Boakai's benefits in the next budget. President Boakai, who took office in January after defeating Gerald, has pledged to combat corruption and financial mismanagement. He has declared his assets, ordered an audit of the presidential office, and strengthened the General Auditing Commission and the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. Meanwhile, lawmakers protesting the delay in receiving their official cars recently arrived at Parliament in talks, highlighting ongoing issues in public service compensation.
And so to discuss the implications of President Boakai's salary cut and what it means for governance in Africa, we have Aaron Weah. He's the director, DUCOR Institute for Social and Economic Research. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Aaron. We appreciate you for doing this with us this morning on the program. Let's get started very quickly because we're pressed for time. The president's decision to cut his salary by 40% is seen by many as a move towards responsible governance. What are your thoughts on this decision and its potential impact on Liberia?
Hi, are you? It's good to have me. Thanks. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, Boakai pronouncement is not new. George Weah did the same. I would think is a pronouncement towards good faith and a good faith that signals some level of austerity. But my question is, how far does it go? You would think that the president with so much power would want to present a whole package. There are top-paying government officials. The legislature, for example, earn about $15,000 a month, including allowances. I would imagine the president is going to hold conversation with the legislature. There are other top officials of government who earning so much more, whereas you have the police, you have the military, you have the civil servants who are earning far less than what the president is earning. Going back to George Weah, after he announced his 25% salary cut, we saw George Weah build a lot of personal properties. So you see that just about the mere pronouncement of these salary cuts, a measure of austerity, you see presidents tend to do something else. So my point is about coming a whole package. It has to be coherent to send a more clearer message and not a singular presidential announcement. It has to be a whole package.
All right. Now, joining the conversation is Gerald Koinyeneh, is actually the head of newsroom FrontPage Africa. Thank you for joining, Gerald.
Thank you.
All right, just your quick reaction. Great. Your quick reaction to, of course, the president's move to, of course, take a salary cut by 40%. Is it just not lip service this time? Just maybe a
performative?
Yeah, exactly. Looking at what is going on in Kenya and just to keep his job, or out of a sincere point to really find a way to make governance more proficient and responsible?
So we look forward to see what will come out of this, because as the previous speaker said, it is not new. Liberian officials, especially the last president, announced a pay cut of 25%. But what really happened? Did it benefit the people? What programs that were set to use this money towards? We didn't see it here in Liberia. The president has just announced 40% pay cut. Liberians, they don't really care. The general feeling and the response to that, they don't really care. What they want to see is that there should be responsible spending in government. They believe that their government, the officials are spending more on themselves and forgetting the public. So with this pronouncement, it is not really making any significant impact. The public is not really enthusiastic about that because, like I said, there were previous pronouncements that they feel that it didn't give any impact.
Now, the report mentions that some people question whether this is a real sacrifice, given the President Boakai's additional benefits. For example, the daily allowances, the medical benefits that he's getting, and everything else that comes with the shiny job as the first man of the country. How important is transparency in this context, and how can it be ensured?
Yes, so that is very important. The president has huge benefits with the budget at just 738 million. The fiscal budget is 738 million, less than $1 billion. And the president taking home more than 2 billion of that on benefits, the allowances and salary is huge. So it is important that the president make it clear how much he's earning, and this 40% is how much and what will it be used for. And then it's so important. And also, as head of the government, he has officials that make huge a package, and some in 10,000, including benefits, everything 15,000. The speaker said lawmakers. So it should be so important that he make them, he take the lead and make them to do the same. But it is important, not just the announcement. How much is it? First, the public should know how much is this and salary, and then this 40%, how much is it and what will it be used for? So for it to not just be taken as a lip service or, like he said, pressure and see what happened in Kenya, the president, it is important that the office should just make it clear how much is it, what will it be used for, what programs he has planned to undertake that will benefit the public, and how will he encourage his officials, because he's the head of the government, that work in the executive to do the same. They have huge benefits, huge salary, and he alone, I think the public is saying it is not enough.
All right, let me go to Aaron right now. Talking about accountability, let's talk about the Center for Transparency and Accountability, for instance, in Liberia, and other organizations have actually welcomed the pay cut. But one pivotal issue there is where exactly these deductions will go. Do you think that is of relevance?
Yeah, I think, as I stated before, we have seen past president make similar pronouncement. It's good faith. It has all the right intentions, but you are dealing with a post-war economy that hasn't really taken off. And to see a president who is leading by example, but you also want to see a much more, be a little more systematic in terms of how is all of this going to benefit the national budget? How is all of this going to benefit the economy? But money is being cut. It's not really clear where is this 40% being plowed back into? Where is it going? And how is it, over time, how is this money impacting the performance of the budget? And as I indicated, we have the legislature. The legislature makes so much can the president use his influence? Can he use his power as the head of the executive and influence and bring pressure to bear on the legislature in a rather transparent way? The president, is important to mention here, office benefit from extra budgetary allowance in so many different ways, under different ministries, under different agencies, under different state-owned enterprises that support the president office. These are hidden budget allocations. They should be made much more public for the public to know that the president's intentions, his declaration of pay cut is systematic, is consistent with everything that involves his office, everything that involves his well-being. As far as I see it, the pronouncement doesn't go far enough. The announcement is more a show of rhetoric, as we've seen with previous presidents making similar pronouncements. So there are extra budgetary allocating budget lines that support the president office. The office of the president need to be more forthright with these different allocations and come to the public with these are all of my allowances in other ministries. I'm not going to use them. I'm going on foreign travels. I'm going to keep it short. I have president.
And we seem to be losing Aaron's.
It has to be addressed. It cannot just be a matter of salary here.
Well, Aaron, we lost you there for a second, but we'll switch gears now to Gerald. Gerald, President Boakai has pledged to empower Liberia's civil service agency to ensure that public servants to ensure that they receive their fair compensation. How crucial is this in addressing the issue of governance and public trust? Yeah, Aaron, please take it. I understand that Gerald, we lost Gerald there.
Okay, so the question of public trust, I think, is very spot on. One is, so we did this research on assessing the level of trust within government, and we saw that across the judiciary, across the legislature and the executive, the public distrust the political elites by more than 60%. That was done in a nationwide survey some 3-4 years ago. That is a very significant level of disapproval. Further evident to that is the recent elections. You have about 19 independent candidates in the legislature. I mean, that is an anomaly in Africa. It shows that the level of mistrust, even at the level of political parties, run very deep. How do you address this? To address this deep-seated level of mistrust, has to begin with the presidency, how he communicates, and his declaration of assets, the pay cuts. The public need to know how far, to what extent does he go with it, and how sincere he is with it. What are the different allocations in budget, the extra budgetary allocations, hidden budget lines for the president convoy? He traveled outside of Liberia, the associated costs with the very high travel for a very small and poor society. You want the presidency communication on a matter of transparency to not be an anecdotal example. It has to be everything. It has to communicate fully and transparently to everything that the presidency is involved with, especially everything that involves cost, spending, or expenditure more broadly. But so far, the president is engaging with matter of transparency on a rather anecdotal level. It has to be a lot more systematic than anecdotal. A pay cut doesn't say much in my assessment.
All right.
All right.
Aaron Weah, thank you so much for your insight, and also many thanks to Gerald too.
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Thank you very much.